has it been hard to campaign going around the Commonwealth? I mean, what are people coming to you saying, hey, this is one that's really on my mind? We've had this major disrupt in the country over the last 2 weeks with George Floyd's um, um, killing at the knee of a police officer in Minneapolis. His death has now been upgraded. The charge has been upgraded from a third to a second-degree murder, which is going to be even more difficult to prove intent. What are your reflections on the Black Lives Matter movement, the demonstrations, the defund the police movement, which is horrifying to think about?
Well, you started out by asking me, like, how's the campaign going?
Right. But,
so, and then you switched over. You switched over to like the most controversial issue out there right now.
Are you hearing?
Let me talk about the first one. Let me talk about the first one first, which is, look, we're all sick to death of Zoom, right? We're sick to our freaking hearts about looking at Facebook all the time. So clearly that's been part of it. People are sick of being cooped up. They're excited. I went to Virginia Beach on Saturday. There's a big support the president boat parade. It was awesome. There's like 700 boats out in the harbor there, and it was fantastic. And people are enthusiastic about getting outside. It's a lot of fun. So the first thing is, people are most concerned not about violence in their neighborhoods, because that's, fortunately, it's concentrated in a few city centers by and large. They're concerned about, like, when do I get to go out without a mask? When do I get to go out and resume my life? And so I'm hearing a lot of, hey, when are we reopening the state? Let's get these reopen rallies going. Let's get the Great American Tailgate going, all of that stuff. All of that is kind of what I'm hearing on that front. People are ready for this to be over. They're sick of, and I'll just point out to my fellow Virginians that, you know, if you like big government, then that must mean you like the mask on your face, because every time you put a mask on, that's Ralph Northam's hand touching your face. How do you like it? Do you like having the government touching your face everywhere you go? I don't. I'm tired of it. So reopen Virginia is number one. Reopen the economy, get people back to work. I think that's the thing that's closest to people's heart. But I think, you know, what's interesting about the killing of Mr. Floyd, I think, is what we're really seeing here is a combination of two things. It's pent up anger by folks about how they get mistreated, or the perception of mistreatment at the hands of the police. And I think there's also like fuel on that fire by the fact that everybody's been cooped up for a long time. And so I think the two things together kind of create a perfect storm that's causing this to be worse than it would be otherwise. But look, nobody, you know, not a single person that I've ever seen on Facebook, on happened to George Floyd. That was terrible. It was horrific. I've watched it. It made me sick to my stomach, and I've been in the presence of dead, dying, and wounded people in the course of my work, and that killing was terribly disturbing. And of course, I'm a huge supporter of freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. Yes, absolutely. If you want to have a big sign, and look, I'm going to say something that you might disagree with, and that's fine. I'm okay with people burning the American flag, actually. I think it's gross. I hope they won't do it. I don't like it when they do it. But I know it's an act of political speech, and I'm a free speech absolutist. I believe that much in our Constitution. While my flag be burned, all of my those people, the good is what I mean. But what's not to the good is taking a rock and throwing it through a window, or, you know, hitting a cop or whatever. That's not right. It's the wrong approach, and it's going to cause even more suffering in communities than occurring. And this idea, the defund the police idea, is so obscene, because if you defund the police, the people who are going to suffer people who live in your neighborhood or in mine, where there's lots of crime already. Those people are going to suffer. And if you think it's so the fact that Minneapolis is getting ready to defund their police force it's absurd to me. And a whole lot of national level politicians have signed on to this. It's a crazy approach. It won't work. It's dangerous to the very people they're trying to help.
Well, see, what I don't understand about this is how people aren't denouncing this everywhere. It's one thing to be opposed to it, but people want the silence on other issues as well, and that's the one I think that's going to transcend into the election. I mean, yeah, people are rightfully upset about what happened to Mr. Floyd. I'm upset with what happened to Mr. Floyd. I'm upset that the other police didn't do anything about it. I'm upset that the person taking the video didn't do anything about it. Right? We have this dehumanization going on. I'm like, wait a second, who's going to stand up for the guy who's obviously getting killed, but you're videotaping it, but you don't do anything about it?
Well, what are you supposed to do though? Like, if you go and
get off him.
Well, no, they did say that. They did.
Oh, really?
Chris.
Oh, really?
Yes. They were like, man, you're killing him. Get off him.
Oh, wow.
And the cop, the one cop is standing there with his arms crossed, and he's like giving him the stone face. And if you go over there and let's say if you grab Derek Chauvin by the back of the neck and try to pull him off Floyd, you're going to get shot. I mean, so they tried their best. They told him he was killing them and that he was unconscious.
Wow.
And
I can't watch. I can't do those kind of videos. I can't watch them. It's hard enough on TV, let alone in real life. There's just squeamishness to me.
No. Let me challenge you. I want to challenge you on that, and I want to challenge everybody who's watching this on that exact issue. Because I think it's really important as Americans that we look at evil straight in the eyeballs at it, so that we understand what we're dealing with and we understand the emotion that people have about it. So I think we have to watch it. I think we have to watch it. I think that everybody should watch Schindler's List, the movie that came out in 1993.
Oof, that's a brutal
If you haven't watched Schindler's List,
I have.
It's amazing. It's great videography, and it's telling only a part of the story.
Right.
If you haven't watched the killing of the Jordanian fighter pilot who was shot down over Syria and then burned alive in a cage by ISIS, you should watch it, because it's a chance to look straight in the eyes of evil. And then you understand what people like me, military service people whose job it is to look in the eyes of evil, now you understand what that looks like. And then from a public policy point of view, now you can understand the rage and the anger that people are experiencing. And I feel it, man. I feel it because I watched the video and I understand.
Yeah,